The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
There was a family that lived in Shalom in a building. In this building, everybody was so amicable. Forget amicable. They were so pleasant with one another. It was like, the bungalow colonies where everybody gets along and everybody's best friends. They're like family. It was like heaven on earth. Gan Eden. It was so sweet. Until one family, the Katz family. The Katz family, they lived on the first floor. And they decided, they had a very nice apartment. There was a little garden in the back. But they realized that, a robber could get in. So they wanted to build a fence in the back to prevent a robber from coming in, entering through the backyard and going into a window or a door. That was their plan. Well, their neighbors, the Cohns, who lived upstairs on the second floor, immediately above them, directly above them, they found out. They saw a contractor coming, and they asked the contractor, they saw the contractor looking at the back of the building. They said, what are you studying? What are you surveying? He said, we were commissioned by this family over here that we should build a fence. A fence? You didn't ask us permission. The contractor said, whoa, it's not me. I was just hired. He said, but what do you have against it? So what do you mean? If you build a fence, that means that a robber has now a way to climb up to the second floor where we live and go right through a window and rob us. Under no circumstances, we will not allow this. You can't build a fence. The contractor says, well, don't tell me. Tell your neighbors. So the Cohn family goes to the Katz family and they say, we heard you're building a fence. It's not right. We don't give permission. And the Katz family says, I beg your pardon? You can't give us permission. That's our property and we're allowed to do whatever we want. And the Cohn family said to the Katz family, well, if you do that, then we're not friends any longer. Don't ask what happened. They became embroiled in such a machlokas. These were best friends, neighbors, family. And they were no longer on talking terms, and they would badmouth each other and schmutz about one another, and it was just... And then other neighbors, of course, got involved. Becomes viral, right? And it has tentacles that spread, and it becomes vicious, and it becomes contagious, and everybody gets involved, and now the whole building that used to all love one another, everyone's taking sides, and everyone's spreading rumors. Until the third floor apartment, the Hurwitz family, they said, Ad Kan, enough is enough. They went to the contractor and they told the contractor, we'd like you to build not one fence for the first floor, but two fences. A fence for the first floor and a fence for the second floor. One fence for the Katzes and one fence for the Cohns. Because the whole issue by the Cohns is that somebody could go into, build a fence, and therefore they're also protected and they're secured. And we'll be okay. Two fences, two floors, the Horowitz. And not only that, the Horowitz family said, we'll pay for it. And that's what happened. And peace was restored in the building. The Cohns and Katzes became friends again. And Shalom al Yisrael, everything was okay. But the story doesn't end there. Listen what happened. It'll blow your minds. Fasten your seatbelts because you may fall off your seats. Be careful. Okay? A year and a half later was Hanukkah. And the Horowitz family lit their menorahs. In Baruch Hashem, they had a nice big family, a lot of menorahs. And the parents left the children in the apartment because they had a simcha to go to, an affair to attend. They took precautions, but somehow something terrible happened. One of the menorahs fell, and the apartment caught on fire, and there were flames everywhere. There was no oxygen, wasn't sufficient. Somebody smelled smoke, called the fire department, but there was no escape. And the kids were trapped. And the flames were getting bigger and bigger, and the smoke was becoming overwhelming. The kids couldn't breathe, and the fire department, they were trying to find a way to get in to the apartment. But they couldn't figure out any way to get into the apartment. The kids were going to die. The kids were going to suffocate. The kids would burn. It was a nightmare. These precious little children and the bigger children that were babysitting, everyone would die and burn. Until somebody screamed to the firefighters, "Wait! There's a way to get in! There's a window! Come here!" And he brought the firefighters to the back of the building. And he said, "You see, how are we going to get up there?" He said, No. There's a fence and another fence. And they were able to climb the fences. And they got to the third floor window. And they were able to save. Each child got out. Each child survived. Each child was totally okay. Why? Because the firefighter was able to climb the fence and had entry. But where did those fences come from? Remember, the Katzes, the Cones were fighting. No fence, no fence. Who paid for the two fences to make peace? The Horowitzes. That's the only reason why I had the fences there. When the Horowitzes paid for the fences to make Shalom, to make peace, they were saving their own lives. That's the bracha of Shalom, of peace. When you make peace, when you make sure that peace reigns in your family, in your shul, on your block, in your community, you get the biggest. Hasam b'gevulech shalom, the pasuk says. He that puts peace in his boundaries, in his community, chelev chitim yaspiach, he will reap the greatest benefits, the greatest dividends.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org